Hello guys, it's Teenage DC Fan back in the video, and one thing I would like to mention before I get into this week's episode review for DC's Legends of Tomorrow is that there is a new intro title sequence thing that there's going on in this that is also in The Flash that's new. And you can check out my latest episode review for The Flash as well, link in the description below. So yeah, I really like this new intro. It definitely captures what Legends of Tomorrow is all about, because if you look at the Flash intro, it's footage from the actual show and it shows the actual characters, but on this it's almost like cartoons or drawings or some kind of art thing, and you can just tell that by that and comparing those two intros, these are two completely different shows. Legends of Tomorrow is very silly. The show is all about misfits and coming together as a team. So I really like the way that that intro captures what this show is all about. But anyway, into this week's episode review. So last week's DC Legends of Tomorrow traveled to the golden age of Hollywood to handle famous mobster Bugsy Siegel, and it was an okay episode. But this week, Legends takes a step back from real-life historical bad guys to deal with a fictional one, a high school serial killer. And as the title suggests, Slay Anything is an homage to the 80s, and I love the setting for this episode. I loved it taking place in the 80s. I love 80s nostalgia and all that stuff in pop culture. Now, this was an amazing episode. Not only is this the best episode of the season, but to be fair, I mean, this is only the third episode of the season, basically. But I'd honestly say this is probably one of the best episodes of the series as a whole. Not the best, but one of the best. It's up there, because this was a really good episode. With the 80s nostalgia, the big twist, the silliness. It was just really cool. So Slay Anything begins in 2004 at Iron Heights, where Freddy Myers, who supposedly, this word is very important, supposedly, murdered several of his high school classmates on prom night in 1989, and is being sentenced to death as his distraught mother watches on. Now, that'd be a hard thing to do. It's bad enough that you know that your son is basically going to die right there, but watching it happen, I get that you want to see your son in the last moments that you're alive, but wouldn't watching it happen cause more pain? I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm not a parent, so I don't know how that feels, because I'm not going to be anytime soon, because I'm a teenager. But anyway, let's see. So, yeah, shortly after he's dead, the coroner's van carrying Freddy crashes, and it appears as though Freddy is responsible since he's our latest encore. Coincidentally, the encore is resurrected on the same night as Central City High School's 15-year reunion, where the surviving victims of the murder spree will be honored. And, well, it's actually just one survivor, Tiffany. So, yeah. But once the Legends realize Freddy has apparently come back from the dead, they go into action mode. Sarah, Ava, and Mick crash the reunion to find and stop him from killing his classmates. And Ava has this whole thing where she's obsessed with serial killers. Apparently she even has her own podcast about serial killers and the top 5 serial killers in history and stuff like that. So I thought that was nice, because Ava definitely gets overshadowed by Sarah. Their relationship is a big part of this show, but Sarah is the main character of the show, so of course she overshadows Ava. So it's very rare when we get to see some character development and character traits like this with Ava in the show. So it was nice to see this, how she has a hobby, researching serial killers. So she's super excited about going here, seeing where that all these murders took place, because she knows all about it. And but with them being there, this setup yields two very delightful twists. First of all, Mick went to this school, and this is his class reunion, so Mick was there when all those people were murdered. And he went to high school in Central City. This is in Central City. That was kind of already obvious because he was living in Central City before he joined the Legends anyway. But so yeah, that's really cool. So you get to see some of his old classmates, and sparks fly between him and an old flame. I'll just say that for now until I get into that later. But second of all, like I mentioned, the Ava's podcast thing, it's called Stabcast. And apparently she recently did a video about Freddy. So then she actually makes the Legends listen to the podcast. I think Nate's the only one that actually does it, but so like I said, she doesn't get much development on this show, but when she does, she gets some good stuff. I love how much Ava has come alive since being freed from the from the Time Bureau. So, because she was very uptight and professional when she was part of the Time Bureau, but now she's very loose and laid back and just all about having fun. But Freddy wastes no time in attacking his classmates. So his first two victims are a cop stationed outside the high school, and Tiffany, the final girl of his original murder spree, who ended up escaping. And I think one of the best parts about this, and one of the best references, is that Freddy, when he tried to kill Tiffany that first time back in 1989, he was using one of the school trophies. I don't know if it was like a sports trophy or something, but it was in the trophy case, and he tried to use one of the trophies to murder her, but then she ended up escaping. But in this episode, when they found her dead body, that trophy that he tried to use before was stabbed into her. So I think it was pretty cool that he used that trophy that he tried to use before, and he got the job done this time. But not only that, but he's also trapped Sarah, Ava, Mick, and everyone else inside of the school. So that's great-ish news for Mick, who finds some time to reconnect with the prom date he stood up 15 years ago. And back then he was in juvenile detention and planned on breaking out to attend prom and, have a good time with her, but then he just chickened out. Unfortunately, the killer murders Allie right after she and Mick sneak off together. So that was really sad. Like, Mick's finally getting back to the way he kind of used to be when he first joined the Legends, and I like that version of Mick. And now he found part of his past that he wants to reconnect with, this girl Allie, and he actually likes her, and they're having this connection. But then Freddy shows up and just like, ooh, stab, and she dead. Like, that was really sad. So with their friends trapped inside the school, the rest of the Legends try Plan B. Travel back in time to 1989 and reform Freddy before he goes all stabby, which was Ray's original idea. So they all found success in steering Nora away from the dark side, so it makes sense he would believe they could help Freddy. Nora also comes along for the ride and ends up becoming Freddy's fairy godmother, which is frightening because he's a burgeoning, he's a serial killer. Like, he's a psychopath. And now he has a fairy godmother that can do whatever he wants. So that's a bit scary. However, in another surprising twist, Freddy's first wish is just for a new suit. So he can take Tiffany, a popular girl who for some reason asked him out to prom, and Nora gives him a new suit. He also wants a pony, but she doesn't give him a pony, because in the beginning of the episode when Nora made her return, she was complaining about her job as a fairy godmother, like, all these kids, all they want is a pony and all that stuff, and they're never grateful for this, and they don't, it's not like these ponies make them a better person or anything. So I like how she changed throughout the story because of Freddy. But from there, Ray, Nate, and Nora accompany Freddy to prom. While Freddy and Nora dance, Nate notices that the popular kids plan on dumping trash on top of him. But Tiffany, who was a part of the plan, and the whole plan was for her to ask him to prom and then lure him into that specific spot, but then she ends up having a change of heart because she gets to know Freddy through this experience when they're dancing and they're talking, and she pulls him away from the trap. Unfortunately, Tiffany's friends reveal her original role in the prank that didn't happen, and Freddy runs off in anger. And you're like, oh no, he going psycho murder mode here. But of course, Nora's afraid that this is going to send Freddy over the edge, and I kind of did too, and lead him to misuse one of his wishes. So she tries to talk him down and urges him not to let his pain define him, and drive him to do something he'll regret. Obviously, she's speaking from experience because that's who she was for a long time. But this moment is a great reminder of how far she's come, and another sign of how smart the writers are when it comes to plotting out stories and character arcs. Like, of course, Nora's first appearance in this episode for this season. Not only that, but Nora's point also connects to Mick, who let his own darkness get the best of him, which is why he stood up his date all those years ago and now realizes he made a mistake. Nora's words get through to Freddy, and so he uses the next wish for something even more awesome. A cheesy dance performance in front of his classmates, all of them. Now, you'd think this wouldn't do anything, this would actually make him even more of a loser, but So, to his bully's dismay, everyone in the auditorium is charmed by it and joins in. And, like, he's really busting a move here. He's even got the backup dancers and everything. So that was pretty cool. And, like, of course, Nora had her magic and everything. And, so she was making him look even cooler than he actually was. So the team manages to stop Freddy from flying off the handle and killing his classmates, but for some reason that doesn't help Sarah, Ava, and Mick, who are still trapped in the school in the present and being terrorized by an encore. So Mick, of course, angry at Freddy for, murdering Allie. So he tries roasting the encore with his flamethrower, but it does nothing, and then Freddy turns the fire back on him and kills him. That's right, Heatwave, Mick Rory, his whole skin is burned, and then he's just dead there lying on the ground. So, Mick is dead. But then, however, that fire, it also kind of melted the mask that Freddy was wearing. And this is where we find out that it's not Freddy under the mask. It's actually Freddy's mother, Kathy, who actually ended up having a heart attack at the same time her son died. Because, like I mentioned earlier, like, watching your son die, that would cause you a great amount of pain. So she had a heart attack and she died because she watched her son die. And there was nothing she could do about it. She just had to sit there and watch it happen. So Kathy explains that she was the one who attacked all of Freddy's classmates 15 years ago because they were trying to take him away from her. But Freddy loved her so much that he took the fall for the murders. Now, most people that I've talked to about this episode, they saw this twist coming, but I did not see this coming at all. Like, at all. But I'm glad I didn't, because that made it even better. But anyway, the 1989 set Legends defeat Kathy in the past because she's stalking young Freddy, and his girlfriends, all of them, because he's hooking up with all the ladies up there. So they get in his limo, and then Kathy, or Freddy, who they think it is at the time, basically the serial killer, like, is in the driver's seat of the limo. So then you know how, like, they have the window in between the back of the limo and the front of the limo. So then you open up the door, the little window thing. So then when they open that up, Kathy had the knife and then was just trying to stab him through the window. And I thought that was pretty cool. Very, horror movie-ish. But like I said, so they end up defeating Kathy because Bayrod shows up, and he's got his totem, of course, so he knocks her out with his wind power stuff. And because Kathy has been defeated in the past, and she never died for her to have the chance to come back to life, she disappears in 2004. So now their problem is solved. And Freddy wonders what he'll do without his mother now, and Nora leaves him with some great advice. My upbringing was only dysfunction, but dysfunction doesn't get to choose who you are. You do. But with that handle, the legends reunite in 2004 and have a blast at the reunion, while Mick is now alive because basically none of that happened, and Allie is also alive, so he hooks up with Allie, and they're doing it in the... I'm not sure where they're doing it. Like, is it in a locker? Because, like, when they ask, where's Mick? It kind of just pans across the gym, and then you just see him over by the wall. So I'm not sure if they're, like, in a separate room, or if they're literally just doing it right there in front of everybody. I don't know. It was funny, though. So while all of this is going on, of course, there are a couple other storylines that are a lot less interesting. But we have Zari and Bayrod, who made some important headway in their relationship. Both of them thought their parents loved and respected the other more, but over the course of the episode, they realized this isn't the case. Not only that, but Zari gets a chance to see what Bayrod does as a legend, and develops a newfound appreciation for her brother, and agrees to hang around for a little while longer. Now, all the way over in this episode's C plot, Constantine returns to his mansion that he lived in when he was younger, and he's brought Gary along with him, and he's shocked to find Charlie there partying it up disguised as Constantine. So after kicking out all of her friends, he reveals that he returned here so he can speak to Astra's mother, whose spirit is locked inside one of the rooms. And at the end of the episode, Charlie convinces Constantine to work up the courage to enter that room, which will be followed up in the next episode, I assume. So he's going to go talk to Astra's mother and see what will happen there. But just a couple other things that happened in this episode. While trapped on the Wave Rider, Zari suddenly remembers her hacking skills and is able to break out of Bayrod's room after they lock her in there. So hopefully this is just the start of her remembering things, because I do miss the original Zari. But that being said, I do also like this new version of Zari. Because if I'm being honest, like, before, I was like, alright, Zari's a cool character, I guess. But now, like, now that she's different, I'm like, damn, Zari, she's... damn. But yeah, so... Also, at one point in the episode, when they were in 2004 and they were at the reunion thing, Ray and Nate were outside the building while Sarah, Ava, and Mick were inside, and they were talking about what they were seeing and stuff. But then when they said they saw the the buffet and stuff, Ray said, "Ooh, save me some raw broccoli." Raw broccoli. I mean, wouldn't broccoli at a buffet already be raw? Like, I don't know. I just thought that was kind of weird. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened in this episode of DC's Legends of Tomorrow. And like I said, this was such a good episode. I love this so much. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What did you think about this episode? Did you have any problems with it, or did you love it just as much as I did? Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hope to see you in the next video, so I can bestow all my DC knowledge